Alright, so Jonathan Majors has spoken out in an interview with Good Morning America about his trial. And I really wish, now I haven't read every last line of this, but I really wish at this point, because of how he feels at the verdict, I really wish he had actually testified in his defense. Whether that would have helped is a different story, but maybe it might have. We don't know. And we never will know because he didn't testify. So I have two articles, one from Deadline, but I'm going to start with Variety, which seems to be keeping their obvious bias to themselves, which Deadline never did. So, yeah. We'll start with Variety. Headline: Jonathan Majors shocked by assault conviction, claims none of X's injuries were his doing. I was reckless with her heart, not her body. Meaning, of course, the part about him cheating on her. So, Jonathan Majors has spoken out for the first time since a New York jury found the actor guilty of assaulting and harassing his ex-girlfriend. In a new interview that aired Monday on Good Morning America, Majors denied any wrongdoing and expressed feeling absolutely shocked and afraid by the guilty verdict, which I wouldn't blame him. I don't blame him either at all. I mean, I've made I have not hidden my feeling, my opinion on him. Granted, it was through a very biased lens of Deadline. Thank you very much, Deadline, for that. But at the same time, given what he was found guilty of, it ranks up there with are accidents never allowed to happen anymore. But anyway, and considering he is a black man who's about to enter, hopefully he won't be sentenced to jail. But since he's a big black man who might end up going to jail, yeah, I would understand the fear as well. Anyway, continuing on, I'm standing there and the verdict comes down, Majors recounted to ABC News anchor Lindsay Davis. I say, how is that possible? Based off the evidence, based off the prosecution's evidence, let alone our evidence, how is that possible? The Creed 3 actor was convicted of 2 misdemeanor counts of harassment and assault over a domestic dispute with his former partner, Grace Jabari, which I just don't know how that works. Majors will be sentenced on February 6th, which I will cover on this channel. If any of you are curious as to why I'm talking about covering the trial, I did that on my Susan on TV shows channel because at the time he was still employed by Marvel. He was still Kang. Since he's no longer employed by Marvel, I'm putting him here. Alright. He faces up to a year in jail, but also could be sentenced to probation. Here's hoping he gets probation. If for no other reason, this is his first conviction on anything. And it was 3rd degree everything. So I just don't see why somebody would think that he deserves jail time. But, he is a big black man, and systemic racism is a thing, so anything's possible. I I wouldn't be surprised if he got a 1-year jail sentence, but I'm hoping that reason prevails and he gets just probation. Of course, if reason prevailed, I don't think he would have been convicted in the first place, but anyway. Majors was arrested on March 25, 2023, after he assaulted Jabari in the backseat of a private car. Jabari, a choreographer who met Majors on the set of Marvel's Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, testified that she grabbed her then-boyfriend's phone after seeing a text message from another woman. Jabari told jurors that Majors forcefully retrieved his phone from her, resulting in injuries to her head and hand. Now, do I condone injuring someone? Absolutely not. But you did take the guy's phone because, he was cheating on you. Granted, that's a shitty thing to do, but what were you expecting to happen? He wanted his phone back. You took it from him. What was he supposed to just let her keep it? Yeah. Majors was adamant that he didn't physically harm Jabari, telling Davis it was no question that he wasn't to blame for her fractured finger and laceration behind her ear. Which makes, him trying to get back his phone makes even more sense. Because if he's not even hurting her, that did not happen, Major said. He added that he doesn't know how Jabari, who went to the hospital the day after the incident to treat her wounds, got hurt. I wish to God I knew, he said. That would give clarity. That would give me some type of peace about it. Which is a good question. And this is something I brought up many times during the trial, is that how the hell did you not know until a day later? Either one of them should have noticed that she got hurt. The fact that neither of them noticed doesn't lend itself to believability that that's when she got hurt. Now, the cut behind the ear, cuts happen, and sometimes you don't notice the cuts until a long time later. I mean, broken fingers, I guess you wouldn't notice immediately, but depending on the finger, I would think that you would figure it out pretty quickly. I mean, once the adrenaline dies down, which obviously you're probably amped up because of the situation, but once it dies down, I would think that you would have figured it out. The trial lasted 2 weeks, during which Jabari took the stand for several days and Majors did not testify, which again I think was a shame. I really think, who knows, maybe just the fact that he testified might have got him off on all charges. Because they heard his side. Maybe they figured that he has something to hide because he didn't testify. Who knows what was going through these juries' heads? Shortly after the guilty verdict, Disney's Marvel Studios severed ties with Majors, who played the villainous Kang the Conqueror in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and was expected to appear in upcoming installments, including 2026's Avengers: The Kang Dynasty. Disney also owns ABC, which aired the Majors interview on GMA. And I particularly liked Kang. I thought it was very interesting how he was managing to reinvent himself for every iteration. I think he's a very talented actor. So this is just another heartbreak because I thought he was doing a good job. If I didn't like him, I would be less bummed about it that he got fired. Not that he got convicted. But I really didn't mind him. I I didn't mind him at all. I was very interested to see where this would go. Majors denied that he assaulted Jabari, and his defense team alleged that Jabari was the aggressor in the vehicle that night, including the frickin' driver. That's what I don't get. The driver, who was supposed to be the witness for the prosecution, admitted that she started it. I'm like I said, I'm with Jonathan Majors on this. How is it with all the evidence that he got convicted of anything? All right. His lawyers also argued during the trial that Jabari fabricated the allegations to get back at Majors after their breakup. They dated for 2 years before their relationship ended on the night of the assault. Majors said during the Good Morning America interview that he does not feel responsible for the March incident and that he only regrets not breaking up with Jabari sooner. I shouldn't have been in the car. I shouldn't have been in the relationship, Majors said. If I'm not in the car, none of this happening. If I leave the relationship, none of this happening. If I'm man enough or brave enough to say I want to see someone else or I'm done now, I'm not in that car. We're not here. I'm responsible for those things. But none of her injuries, Davis reiterated. Can't say that, Majors responded. None of her injuries. I was reckless with her heart, not with her body, he added. My hands have never struck a woman, ever. Again, I would have loved for him to be on the stand saying these things. Maybe that would have got him off on all charges. I mean, I still don't understand how they managed to find him guilty on any charges, but if he had spoken out, like, that's why I'm thinking maybe it was because people thought, okay, he must have something to hide. There must be something to this because he's not testifying. I don't know what was going on through their heads, but this makes zero sense, especially listening to Majors now. Again, why did they not let him testify? Unless he was afraid to testify. Maybe because he was afraid of systemic racism, he figured, what's the point? But then he wouldn't have been shocked at the verdict, so I have no idea. During the trial, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office released evidence that painted Majors as a manipulative and controlling to Jabari throughout their 2-year relationship. Jurors saw text messages in which Majors seemingly attempted to dissuade Jabari from going to the hospital to treat a head wound and threatened suicide over an argument. Now, I have to admit, that text message, I keep reading that, and I must admit that does not look good. I mean, Jabari herself said he never hit her before this. But still, that text message then reads super weird if he never hit her before. It still reads super weird. Which, again, would have been nice if Majors was on stand to explain why he phrased the text the way he did. That would have been nice. In an audio recording that played for the jury, Majors told Jabari that she needs to act like Coretta Scott King and Michelle Obama because he's a great man who is doing great things, not just for me, but for my culture and the world. Okay, so the only thing we know for sure is he's a raging narcissist. Because, dude, you're an actor. I mean, you're a very good actor, do not get me wrong, very good actor, but you're a great man doing great things for the culture and the world. Okay, you have a big head. Now, does that mean he that he actually caused her injuries? No. And I've mentioned that many times on my daily updates of the trial. That just means he's a narcissist. That does not mean he actually hit her. And there were messages about him threatening suicide. There were the text message I just mentioned where he tried to dissuade her from going to the hospital for a head injury. Granted, none of those paint him in a good light. Which, again, would have been great if he could go up there and explain why he said what he said. Maybe he really was at a low point and really was contemplating suicide, and it wasn't manipulative so much as he's being truthful, that he just needed that at that moment. Who knows? Again, that's why he needed to take the stand, so we understand his mental health. What was he thinking at this time? I mean, the audio of she should be like Coretta Scott King or Michelle Obama. Yeah. All right. The only thing you've managed to prove is he's narcissistic. Other than that, you didn't prove anything in this particular case. So Majors told Good Morning America that his new girlfriend, Megan Good, who attended every day of the trial, is an angel. She's held me down like a Coretta. I'm so blessed to have her. Of course, Coretta Scott King. After he was convicted in December, Majors' attorneys released a statement saying the actor still has faith in the process and looks forward to fully clearing his name. Well, I'm happy that he still has faith, he still has hope, because most people would be really, that they wouldn't feel like the system is in their favor. But then again, we've already seen he has narcissist tendencies, so maybe that's coming into play here, and sometimes being a narcissist has its upsides. In this case, believing that you can clear your name, which is great. I hope he does, because again, I just don't see how he's guilty of what he was found guilty of. I just don't. Majors concluded the interview by saying that he hopes to resume his career in Hollywood. I pray I do, Majors said of returning to the screen, but it's God's plan and God's timing. Alright. So, like I said, I really hope that he's not blacklisted forever, because I don't know if he manages to clear his name, if that would be what it takes, or what. I really don't know what it would take for him to start working in Hollywood. But considering we still have people in Hollywood like, I don't know, Mel Gibson, who is a huge piece of trash, I just don't understand why someone like Jonathan Majors wouldn't be able to make a comeback. But anyway. So let's talk about the less sympathetic Deadline. So, the headline of Deadline's, of Deadline's article, Jonathan Majors appears to wipe away tear in GMA interview, actor shocked and afraid of assault verdict. The fact that it even says he appears rather than he just wiped away a tear already says that they don't believe that he was actually tearful. Now, maybe he wasn't. Maybe it was pretty obvious that he wasn't crying, and actually from this picture, it doesn't look like he was, but who knows? I didn't watch the interview, so I'm not going to say whether he was or wasn't. Jonathan Majors appeared to wipe a tear in his first interview since being found guilty of assaulting and harassing his ex-girlfriend Chris Jabari. The former Marvel actor sat down with ABC News Live on Monday in an interview aired on Good Morning America to discuss the New York trial and said he was shocked and afraid as his guilty verdict was declared. Majors was convicted of reckless assault and harassment, but cleared of 2 other charges: intentional assault in the 3rd degree and aggravated harassment in the 2nd degree. I still don't. Now, reckless assault, okay, they're basically saying he accidentally hurt her. That's my understanding. I still don't get the harassment. I keep reading that, and I have no idea where the harassment came from. I still have no clue. Majors, who did not testify during the trial, told ABC News' Lindsay Davis they could not comprehend his conviction. He is awaiting a February 6th sentencing on the misdemeanor charges, which again, I will do a video once the sentence comes down. I'm standing there and the verdict comes down. I say, how is that possible based off the evidence? Based off the prosecution's evidence, let alone our evidence? How is that possible? Yes, I'm repeating things, but Majors said he never hit a woman, but admitted his relationship with British dancer Jabari was unhealthy after they met on the set of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I was reckless with her heart, not with her body, he told ABC News. I guess if you want to call cheating unhealthy, yeah, then it's unhealthy. But when I hear unhealthy, I think toxic. And I don't know if cheating really enters toxic. I mean, obviously, that's not a good thing. If you're not in an open relationship, you should not be seeing other people, but I don't know if it goes down to the level of toxic and unhealthy. But anyway. The Creed 3 star provided his recollection of what took place in March 2023 when he was involved in an altercation with Jabari in a for-hire SUV in New York City. She went to grab the phone. I held the phone. I pulled the phone back. She came on top of me, squeezed my face, slapped me. That's all I remember, he said. Again, why are you telling this to Lindsay Davis? Why didn't you take the stand? I mean, basically, you just assumed that, oh, the evidence is so overwhelming. No, don't assume these things. You should have taken the stand. I mean, you might have gotten off. Maybe your accounts wouldn't have helped. But it's based on what I'm reading, it certainly wouldn't have hurt. Major said he did not know how Jabari's injuries, including a fractured finger and cut behind her ear, occurred. I wish to God I knew. That would give clarity. That would give some type of peace about it, he said. Now, again, it's entirely possible that there was some injuries that were sustained at the time, and it took her a while because, you're amped up, you're on adrenaline, and you don't notice your injuries. But if it was that severe that she had to go to the hospital, even for the cut behind her ear, the actor added, I'm an athlete. I'm a sportsman. I know my body. I know how it moves. I know my strength, or lack thereof. None of this was employed on her. Okay. I don't understand, or lack thereof. Are you saying you're not as strong as people think you are? Or maybe he's just trying to be humble? I don't know. Just weird. Jabari's attorney told ABC News that Majors continues to take no accountability for his actions. Because he doesn't, how can he take accountability for something he, honest to God, thinks he never did? I mean, come on. I mean, again, maybe she did get hurt then. But if he truly can't see how that happened, and there was nothing to show that that's exactly when she got hurt, how is he supposed to take accountability? In a statement, Brittany Henderson said his denigration of our jury system is not dissimilar from the above-the-law attitude that he has maintained throughout this legal process. What the hell? The timing of these new statements demonstrate a clear lack of remorse for the actions for which he was found guilty and should make the sentencing decisions fairly easy for the court. Okay. So, his denigration of our jury system. Now, I'm sorry, but this is hardly the first case of someone who was wrongfully convicted of something. The Innocence Project exists for a reason. So to basically say that the jury never gets it wrong is basically saying that the Innocence Project shouldn't exist because, well, the jury never get things wrong ever, so, racism doesn't exist, systemic racism doesn't exist. So let's just let the jury decide things, and there should be no appeal system, there should be no Innocence Project, there should be none of that, because the juries are infallible. What? Are you kidding me? There's plenty of proof from all the people who have been exonerated that proves that things are not what they might seem at first. Just because the jury finds you guilty of something does not mean you're actually guilty. It just means that that's what the jury concluded. Now, most of the time, they get it right. I will not say they never get it right. But mistakes happen. For whatever reason, mistakes happen. Like not letting Jonathan Majors testify. Now, I don't know if this was his idea, because, the evidence obviously exonerates me, which is where his narcissism is actually working against him. Or maybe this was the lawyer's idea. Oh, you don't need to testify, and actually it might actually hurt you. Because if the lawyer gets under your skin and you get angry, that'll just work against you. I don't know. I'm just guessing here. So, but the fact remains the jury system is not infallible. So, how is that denigrating the jury system by saying they got it wrong? Juries do get things wrong. An above-the-law attitude? What above-the-law attitude? Where did he say, oh yes, I, accidentally hurt her, but it doesn't matter because the law can't touch me or something? Where did he say anything like that? Is he a narcissist? Yes. Where has he said he's above the law? I mean, I just don't understand where any of this is coming from. Now, the lack of remorse for his actions. Well, if he truly does, like I said, if he truly doesn't believe he caused her injuries, then why would he be remorseful about what he did when he doesn't think he did anything? And hopefully it does make the sentencing decisions fairly easy for the court, but hopefully not in the way you want it to, because, yes, her lawyers are seriously pissing me off. I mean, granted, his lawyers pissed me off too, but really? Majors, who is predicted to avoid a jail sentence, good, said he hopes to resume his career in Hollywood. I pray I do, Majors said of a return to acting, but it's God's plan and God's timing. Majors played the mega villain Kang the Conqueror in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He was fired by Disney last month. I do hope that he doesn't get a jail sentence. I've mentioned it after the first article. I hope he doesn't get a jail sentence. I don't see why he should. This is his first conviction. And it sounds like, the only thing he's guilty of is a bit of being narcissistic and, basically being in the wrong place at the wrong time. He even admits that. He should have broke up with this chick a long time ago. So he understands that the situation didn't play out well for him. But I don't think it's worth jail time for. I mean, I just don't see it. Because basically what they're saying is he accidentally hurt her. Because he was trying to wrestle back something she took from him. So why should that warrant jail time? I just don't see it. But anyway, hopefully the judge does understand that and that things work out for Jonathan Majors. So those are the two articles I have for you today. And this went on much longer than I expected. But with that, I will see you guys in the next video.